Hello, hello. Hello. All right, so we're all here for one common concept, and that being faith. And there's a big difference between religion and faith. Faith is something you believe in. Religion is something you practice. At times they can be synonymous. At times they can be entirely different. Myself, I'm converted to Catholicism, but this is by no means a church sermon. If that's what you were expecting tonight, I'd recommend coming back here tomorrow at 10 a.m. because you're not going to get it. The basic outlines and the only rules for this was you can praise it, doubt it, question it, praise it. You just can't bash it. For we are God's workmanship, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do. Ephesians book 2. Often I believe, but I must ask. I believe, but I must wonder. I believe, but at times I doubt. I believe, but wonder why the wine bottles keep piling up in the corner. I believe and I want to preach. I believe, though wonder at times when these are the times I lose my voice. I believe and sometimes flat out ask why. I'm not looking for a burning bush. Just completely skipped a paragraph there. I believe, but if I am really created in Christ Jesus to do good works, why have you created this broken machine that seems incapable of producing anything? Able to survive, but fail at living. Able to pick myself up, but keep from falling. I'm not looking for a burning bush. Just a sign of something that times will improve. Prayers will be answered and sleep obtained without pills. That this system of pulleys and levers made of tongue and flesh make something a product, even if only be for a single night, where they can shut down for maintenance and be metaphorically tuned, rewound, as the rain falls and I put out another cigarette I can't afford. I believe, but I'm still too afraid to pray and ask, as I stopped asking questions years ago based on the responses received. So I, as Jesus often did while performing miracles and healing, will remain mute. As I cannot do things like this and clearly offer no comparison between the two of us, though I believe, but have been granted the gift of free will, which at times wish there was a receipt for, so I may exchange at times when broke, homeless, or lying in hospital beds. I wonder if I was prepared for something to do, what it was I believe, though can't hold a steady job, am terrible in relationships. What I know for certain is that I was born Scotch-Irish, which entitles me by nature to do three things: grow a beard, wear a kilt, be able to stomach more obscene amounts of alcohol. I believe, though ponder what sick author would pen such a perverse script, as the works of such a manuscript are highly limited. Something is in the way, but I believe in the little places where animals are trapped as the earth hangs in space like some distorted scrotum of questioning where I happen to reside, and realize that children have the purest of prayers as they ask for the safety of parents, school compatriots, nothing of themselves, honestly as a junkie looking for a bag or a drunk, just trying to get home. I wonder at times, I believe, I cry, but was apparently planned in advance by something far greater than I. So many inquiries as I have, I believe, but who am I to question? As we're taking on a very interesting subject matter, represented by the various faiths, various people, various poets. My first up to the list that I'd like to have perform here, a man I haven't known for all that long, but hell, he came here. Well, excuse me. I'm an MC. I'm usually used to being paid for being a jerk and making fun of people, so you have to excuse me for that one. The first gentleman we have performing tonight, he came to us from, what was it, Austin, Texas, I believe? Portland, Oregon. Okay, he gets around. When I talked to him, it was Austin, now it's Portland. Things change. In any case, please welcome to the stage, Phil Long.
Give me one good reason to believe in this fairy tale God story that raises more questions than answers. Give me one word. Give it to me point blank. Fire. A one-shot, over-the-top, forget-me-not, high-caliber, rifled word, spinning truth past treadmills. Past run-of-the-mill lame excuses, poured out hotter than lukewarm objections. There are more questions than answers. So give me an opportunity, because I'm willing to take it. Give me an opening for hoping, because death isn't just some monster, I imagine, crouching under bedtime stories. Lights out, fairy tale glory with no real danger. It's coming. We've all got it coming. There's no hiding quietly under the covers. No holding our breath, listening to others. No falling asleep and waking up rested. It's coming. So give me one word. Give me something so absurd that I have a reason to reason. Give me a too close for comfort, comfortable epiphany. Something I can dig in and grow from. Something I can walk on and know I'm getting somewhere. Something simple, so I can fall down and get back up and stay alert. Give me the dirt. No, give me dirt. Becoming alive. Turn dust into dreams, because this is what it means to be human. Give me dirt, suffocating seeds, making rotted hulls into fruit and weeds and grass, chewed into bone and muscle, a bloodbath meat machine feeding brainstem impulses with lightning bolt instinct. Give me the dirt, twisted into double helix recipes for mud pie transcendence. A paradise of sadness and beauty, because we're lost. Snake whisperers from the garden. Rejection, falling. No protection. Calling for help now, because this is insanity. Dirt, holding thoughts of eternity. Like broken promises. Like an accident waiting to happen. A soul factory run amok and counting on luck. Throwing blame like rotten apples at everything that moves, because death isn't ready for life yet. So give me dirt. Wind it into minds. folded into thoughts growing older than our bodies, making souls out of memories and mysteries, and still missing the point that we are absurd. We, spoken words, language in dust, poetry in protein, amino acid adventures, prose still waiting for answers. This is my reason to believe. A fairy tale god poet writing souls into eternity with dust. And just because we read it wrong, it doesn't mean it's bad poetry. So lately, I've been thinking, what if it's all poetry? I mean, if science can only concern itself with the physical emanations of ultimate reality, what if the most fundamental particles are really verbs and nouns? Adjectives, adverbs, the stuff of worlds, couplets and rhymes, the elements, sonnets and ballads, the minerals. And the light comes from a person. What if it's all poetry? What if matter is actually made up of what really matters? Our perception of meaning, a scanning electron microscope, looking closer at the smallest patterns of existence. What if atoms were ions and the rocks merely metaphors? What if it's all poetry? What if relationship is a star exploding with the source of ultimate meaning and conscious awareness is the fuel? What if fools are pollution, broken hearts are black holes of fundamental reality? Selfishness and greed, genetically altered absurdities propagated by brokenness and hurt. What if love is the source and the goal, and there have been too many mutations? What if it's all poetry? What if we, thoughtful sparks slipping through the biochemical cracks of biological creatures, are composed of material innuendo, as real as we feel, as important as we hope, as loved as we want to be, and the stuff that makes us dependent upon the words of a lover? What if it's all poetry? What if ancient wisdom had it right all along and modern science is only catching up? What if Higgs is a field of dreams, giving weight to God's ambition, forming particles from echoes of kindness and patience? I mean, if 96% of the physical universe seems to be dark energy and matter, maybe it's because we're still living in the dark ages. And what matters most is moral and wise. And we're only making matter worse by inversion. What if the extra dimensions we find in our math are the places we should have gone to? And the infinite universe is birthing infinite possibilities, or infinite poetry flowing from an infinite poet. What if it's all poetry? What if the Large Hadron Collider is telling the truth and everything that is comes from nothing but ideas? What if we are words generating fields that give rise to particles shaped by laws that are molded and connected by elemental attractions being used as ink on this cosmic page for the poetry in the language of life, with words that are personal? Us, written with dust, with care and precision, and a vision for the future that ages of edits, mutations of circumstance, and egotistical intent have only managed to alter the reflection of perfection, still finding the author's intention. What if it's all poetry and we find ourselves reading in wonder as our science plunders the pages, denying the poet, insisting on chance? Meter and rhyme unfolding in intricate geology, language and story and physics, biology, the weight of scribbled matter, psychology, the search for reason in unreasonable space, the search for purpose in meaningless traces of eternity, just chance. What if it's all poetry? What if spirit is deeper than flesh? What if what matters is what makes up matter? What makes us matter? And all that matter is now holding this table like a book. Look, what if it's all a poem spoken to become us? Broken lines with an ultimate purpose. It's the only way a poet would create us. Or know us. So this piece I wrote for all of my friends who are That was an excerpt from a 7,000-word poem I wrote called Cosmolyrical, and I'm hoping to bring it here to Chicago the week before Easter, so keep an eye out for Cosmolyrical if you want to hear the rest of that poem. This one is a poem I wrote for all of my friends who were so mad at Jesus. Because if you ask me, it doesn't add up. I mean, I'm not that good at math, and I don't understand the Holy Trinity, but I took trigonometry. I took trigonometry 3 times before I can understand. Okay, you know what? I'm going to start over. That poem's got some rhythm, and I just lost it completely. So it's for all my friends who are so mad at Jesus, because if you ask me, it doesn't add up. I mean, I'm not that good at math, and I don't understand the Holy Trinity, but I took trigonometry 3 times before I could admit there was anything I would never understand completely. Like, how could you be so mad at a myth? No one holds grudges against Santa and the Tooth Fairy, or mythical beings like Thor and Zeus, when it comes to personal insult and injury. Fictional hallucinations are never abused, so there's something about Jesus that invites your derision. There's something about Jesus to force a decision, and you may blame religion or someone you know, but 2,000 years is enough time to consider his quid pro quo. So, somewhere between the babbling baby in the manger and the bloody lamb on the cross, he must have made you crazy. Somewhere between turning water into wine and raising the last glass with friends, there must have been a moment when things weren't so hazy. Maybe it was that finger in the dust, calling the bluff of those hypocrites ready to toss rocks at some party girl like a bunch of frat boys caught in a date rape trying to get rid of the evidence. But what could bother you about that? Or maybe it was that spit in the dust, stirred into mud, and rubbed into the eyes of a man too blind to see, who wanted to see, and then did see what you can't see, don't see, won't see. Somehow you still see red every time someone says, he rose from the dead, this Jewish carpenter by day, king of the universe by night, born to vanquish evil and bring eternal life, astride a white horse with his robes dripping blood, risen from the dead to save the world. I think you just might be upset it's taken so long. Because everybody knows this world needs to be saved. After eons of evolution and centuries of social science, we sure as, well, we're not doing a very good job of saving it ourselves. The things we make for good, we still use for bad. The wealth we all create is hoarded by a few. Rich people watch starving people on high-definition television. Educated people sneer at ignorant people who still have questions. We can't stand the need, or the greed, or the evil men do to people they don't understand. Or the pain and the strain and the hurt inflicted on sons and daughters we should understand. We ought to be tired of waiting to be free. But does that make him responsible for the damage? I mean, why aren't we more like we want to be? And whoever decided we deserve to be saved, you know, myths aren't hated, and they don't come through for us. No one hates Batman, at least not on purpose. Superman doesn't get his name crafted into curses, and Flash Gordon never got paid to desert us. Wonder Woman wasn't strung up naked on a cross to hang until dead, rejected and mocked, just so we could worship the Joker or Lex Luthor in some ritual killing, full moon blood stupor. Only real gods or devils have that kind of clout, so our wishing well's empty. Except for the doubt went to billions of gods. 3 in 1 doesn't count. So don't waste your anger on this holy hero, this God-man chimera, whose life is a message to anyone willing to see that he's still pulling dying souls out of this wreckage. You know that he's real, and this nightmare keeps taking you places you need to be saved from, making you want to blame someone for sin who will take it and give you back life because you're dying to wake up.
We just combined faith, superheroes, I don't even know what else. A whole lot of stuff got involved there. So let's please give him another round of applause. Let's see, coming up right now, Mr. John Shirk. Which I co-host time to time on Wednesdays, every Wednesday, second longest running show in Chicago. Just a little plug there, you should check it out. While speaking of plugs, there is a table out front with books and chapbooks and things of that nature from the featured artists tonight. You should all buy one, like all of them, because they're really good. So at this point, I'm going to hand the mic over to my good friend John.
And if you come to the end one here, I haven't been writing a lot lately, but Gregory got me inspired to write something new. So, and I'm serving two purposes. I'm serving two purposes here tonight. I brought Phil because I think he's amazing, and then I'm going after Phil, so nobody else has to. Whoever's next will feel a lot better. On faith. Faith is believing the Big Bang was triggered by a word spoken by the Word. Believing all the world's problems began with a talking snake and a stolen piece of fruit. Faith is believing God wanted to forgive us but couldn't until we compounded our guilt by killing his innocent son. That a holy God demanded blood be spilled, then spilled his own to satisfy that demand. Faith is believing in a healer who refused to heal his friend because only the dead can be raised. Believing that same healer refused to heal himself because only the dead can be raised. Believing both died and were raised. Believing I will be raised. Faith doesn't add up. It's believing with God 1 + 1 + 1 equals 1. Francisco gets it. But 5 loaves and 2 fish equals a feast for thousands and 12 baskets of leftovers. Faith is believing in a poet who wrote himself into his poem, let the characters edit him out, and wrote himself in again. Believing in a God who lived by faith, died by faith, and by faith lives again. Faith is the opium of the people. Like all medicine, it can be dangerous. That's why I need the great physician to give me an appropriate dose. Faith is drinking the Kool-Aid served by a man who turned water into wine and eating the broken body of the bread of life. Faith is believing that my best effort is never good enough and doesn't have to be, but giving my best effort anyway. Faith is pie in the sky, by and by, believing that a homeless Jewish carpenter is building me a mansion that he's already paid for, but I can't live in it until I die, when I shall be more alive than ever. Faith isn't blind. It's what allows a blind man like me to see the invisible, illuminated by the light of the world. It isn't a crutch for a cripple. It's when a cripple like me hears a voice say, get up and walk, and strangely finds strength in his legs. It's when that cripple rises to his feet, hears his healer say, follow me, and does. Sounds like foolishness because it is. Faith is embracing folly to become wise, weakness to gain strength, poverty to gain riches, suffering to gain joy, death to gain life, and knowing I will never understand it. I have to take it on faith. Thank you.
Mr. John Shirk, everybody. All right, let's see. Coming up next, I'd like to welcome a good friend of mine, a lovely woman who never holds the same hair color for more than a week, or so it would seem. Ms. Jessica Fenwick, would you please approach the stage?
So this is about the living faith and what we can do. And faith to me is believing in something that we don't see sometimes. I survived some things that are pretty incomprehensible that I don't talk about. And later I found out that the director of Johns Hopkins Medical School thought it would be impossible for someone to survive and be able to function after surviving those things, and that's part of where this poem comes from. And last, there is a trigger warning for lady trauma content in the poem. So I just like to put that out there. And the clank will help me out. Right? 1. I say this poem for Marie, my Irish grandmother. She died in childbirth. I say this poem for Delia, my Italian grandmother. She raised Marie's killer, gave his father 3 more babies, even though he told her she couldn't take Marie's place in his heart. For Delia, always the lady, always in heels, cleaning motel rooms, scrubbing toilets, folding hospital corners, always the lady, always in heels. And her calf muscles shortened, and she had to wear them. 2. In the dream, the woman stands naked in a bathtub. The tub's floor is slick with her blood. 2 men stand outside the tub. They wear clothes. They take turns. One props up her body while the other takes one leg. He turns his back to her. He pins her calf to his body. He snaps a 2x2 against the sole of her foot. He snaps a 2x2 against her soul, builds a rhythm, paints fresh bruises over the old ones. Skin splits. Another small bone breaks. When he tires, he sets down that crushed blackberry. His partner picks up the other leg. 3. I say this poem for my Polish friend, Kristen. She went on a business trip. She stopped in her hotel bar for a drink after a long day. She was roofied and gang raped in her hotel room. I say this poem for my Japanese friend, Mo. She went to a house party when she was 16. A group of teenage boys drugged and raped her. Next day at school, the word was she made it happen, and she liked all their bodies tearing into her. I say this poem for that girl from Ohio, the one the boys dragged around like a trophy. I say this poem for the young black women who matter less to a society. I say this poem for my Greek friend, Gwen. She made him enchiladas for their first date. He raped her afterwards. When she told me about it, she said she went outside herself until it was over. So did I said, when it happened to me. 4. In the dream, the woman asks the men, "Who are you?" "We are your future children," says one. The other snickers. She says, "No, my children would never do this." The men's faces harden. Flesh shifts to gargoyles' masks. "We are misogyny," they hiss together. The dream weighs heavy in my not awake yet. Mudalahara. It clicks into sense. The feet are the base. The feet are the root. The first chakra. Mudalahara chakra, the first chakra. The issue being the right to be here. 5. In the dream, she asks, "Why do you do this?" "We are misogyny," they hiss. "We were conditioned to it. It is our nature. We do as we were taught." I interrupt the dream. I encourage you to do this when you're having a disturbing dream. Just interrupt it and write it out. In the name of the living God, the unseen force of life that loves all of the creatures God gives breath to. In the name of unconditional life, the incomprehensible love of people that you and I, that we can't listen to or witness. In the name of unconditional life, the incomprehensible love that humans can't listen to or witness, unmake the hatred and objectification. Unmake the entitlement condensed into abuse that would deny her standing. Those demons crumble into dust. 6. This wounded woman, what does she look like in your mind? We have all seen her. Some of us have been her. Imagine her skin. Is Is it rich with melanin, blue-black with lighter palms? Is your skin paper-white, Irish, willing to show blood and bruises? Is she freckled, bruised, mixed, Asian, ginger, olive, brown, with braids or matted hair, kinked, slick straight, curls? Oh, the detail. I have seen her dead in the opening scene of every Law and Order SVU. Heard her say, "And then he was inside me." And she's told her life will never be the same. Always raped, ever raped. She weeps now with relief and exhaustion. I invite her to sit on the edge of the tub, and I turn the tap on. Her black-purple split-bruised feet are too tender for running water. I tear strips of linen from my garment and soak them and gently wipe her feet. You have the right to be here, sister. You have the right to inhabit your own body. I tear strips of linen from my garment and I swaddle her feet. You have the right to be here, sister. You have the right to inhabit your body.
Miss Jessica Fenlon, everybody. One of the things I wanted to make clear in the producing of the show was that faith can come in many different forms. It doesn't come down to Christianity or Muslim or Jewish or Buddhist or deist or anything like that. You can have faith in yourself, you can have faith in loved ones, you can have faith in anything. And that's what I really wanted this to be about. And luckily was able to find a nice enough place to let me do that. So before our next poet, I'm going to read one more thing, because I'm running the show and you're not, so I can. Some things need to be put in quotation marks. Some things just need to be said. Walking to the liquor store in the mornings, the Magnolia Boys are already on the corners. The Vice Lords on other streets. 7:17 p.m., 8 shots rang out. Often when your hands are shaking, you have the tightest grip on what you need. I never knew any of these things before moving to Chicago. My father told me as a young man, a house is only as strong as its weakest window. From my experience, this is true. Traveled from, it doesn't matter. I am where I am now, considering seminary. And just this past summer, experienced full kidney and liver failure. As long as I had looked for God, He found me like lost car keys or a cell phone. Often you don't know something is broken till it is fixed. Often you don't know it's lost till it's gone. There are ethics and practice, though, behind loss and love. And yes, I am a romantic, so I drink a lot and write poetry. I'm not looking to convert you, but just report things as they've happened. I've never been to a funeral, but I do own a black suit.